Most small businesses are running full speed every day, reacting to problems instead of planning for progress. The result is a fragmented marketing effort that never feels connected or strategic. In this episode, we talk about the power of pausing, taking a single day to slow down, get organized, and build a clear marketing roadmap can completely change how your business grows. We'll break down how to step back from the daily chaos, identify what's really driving results, and bring your scattered ideas together into one focused plan. You'll see how pausing for clarity leads to smarter execution, stronger messaging, and less stress in every part of your marketing. If you've been stuck in reactive mode, this episode will show you why the most productive move you can make this week might be to stop and think. This is episode 85, The Power of the Marketing Pause. I'm Jim Diedlow, co-host here on the campus of Purdue Northwest in Hammond, Indiana. And we have the guru of local digital marketing, Matt Hansen, professor. Hi.
Hello. Good to be back. Good to have another week of podcasts and diving into this. This one is one of my favorites in the fact that I don't think we pause enough. And I've been a little bit under the weather this week, dealing with some things, and it's slowed me down, and it's allowed me to kind of look at some things. And I've been talking with your staff as well about slowing down and kind of looking at, what is the messaging? What are you doing? And I don't think we do it enough. And, it's one of the things that I used to do with my classes all the time. We would work on campaigns, and we had kind of some tips and tricks of how we would slow things down, get organized. I think strategic planning is not something that we necessarily stop and pause to think about because we're always reacting, right? We're always reacting to that next fire. You put one out, you go back to your email, there's another 10 waiting for you. And that's what we want to talk about today is like, how do we let's pause for a second and go forward.
I think I took 2 of your classes in getting my MBA. If you guys follow this podcast, that's how it started. I went for my MBA at P&W, and we started getting together. Remember when I did my final from the Purdue NCAA tournament? I was in Hartford, Connecticut, and I had to do a verbal final from a bar.
You weren't in the bar. You were in the alley.
And then I had to go out in the alley because these guys were getting too loud, and one of the other games was on. But it's ironic in that I took your 2 classes, and I don't ever remember us slowing down. I felt like I had work all the time.
Well, that's good. I mean, we only have so many weeks to get all of that in. So,
here we are talking about a marketing pause, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
It was after the class.
Yeah, okay, it was after.
You had that break.
How do Post-it notes and a Sharpie work into this?
So one of the tools that we used to use, or I still use to this day, a lot of people like whiteboards. The way that I like to do is I take a bunch of different pads of Post-it notes, and I will start to map out on a wall in my house what needs to be done, right? Like you have all these things that you're thinking about on a regular basis, all these marketing initiatives that you want to do. I want to build a CRM. I want to send out more emails. I want to, hire somebody that can do XYZ. I want to make sure that we post 3 times every single week on social, whatever it may be, right? There's all these different things, but you don't actually sit there and start to think, well, what is the content that I'm going to push out there? What is the process of how we're going to do it? Do we really need to hire people for this, or is there a vendor that we can go out there and do? So by taking these Post-it notes, you put all of these wants and needs on the wall, and you go, okay, I'm going to start to dissect this, right? So if it's I want to send out email more often. Okay, that's an end goal, but what is that end goal? So, okay, I want to send out 3 emails every single week. Okay, well, how do I get to that end game from the start? Like, how do I start today? And, the Post-it notes, and I take a Sharpie and I write it because it's permanent, right? It's like, I'm going to write a permanent on this Sharpie, and if I don't like it, I just throw the Post-it note away, and I start again. A lot of people will use a whiteboard, but I feel like the Post-it notes, when you pull them off and you set them aside, you look at it and you're like, maybe we pull that right back in, right? Maybe that can go over here. So it's an ability to kind of like remember where you've been, but not necessarily keep it. But you need to stand back and look at the wall that you're creating to really understand what's going on. And I know this is a very archaic way of doing it with Post-it notes, and there's actually a website that I use now called Mural, and you can build Post-it notes and flows and all this other stuff, but still the same idea. But if you don't ever just stand back and look at it and go, all right, what are we trying to accomplish? Big picture. And then what's our end goals? What are our wants or needs? And then work backward. And how does it all flow and tie together? It's so much easier to get a big picture view when you're doing something with Post-it notes and Sharpies and putting it on a wall versus trying to do it on a little piece of paper, an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that you're drawing on and doing different things. I mean, it gets lost. I mean, even a whiteboard. I have the largest whiteboard I can possibly get in my office. People, they walk by like, how'd you get that? It's still not big enough, right? I've got some flows on it right now of some different things that I'm working on, and it's still not big enough for what I need. So that's why I say find something, and they have smaller Post-it notes if you want, like the itty bitty ones you can put on the wall and to save space. But like I feel like that is an underutilized way to kind of look at the big picture view, to take a pause, leave it on the wall, continue to look at it over and over, and start to, move things as you go.
So you write what on the Post-it notes?
Okay. So what are some of the goals that you're looking to do here at the Sports Network?
Turn from a building an organization to monetizing an organization.
Okay. So you're trying to monetize, which means you're selling advertising space, right? And so you have end goals of X revenue that you've put out there, and you're saying, okay, well, if my goal is this, I need to bring in, let's say, 50 customers over the next year. How do we get those 50 customers? Let's work backward, right? So we currently have, maybe you have 25 customers, and you need another 25. What are we currently doing that's driving that? So we look back and we start looking at your media kit. Is there a standardized media kit? Is there a standardized contract? Is there a standardized outreach that your staff is doing? Are there emails that are going out? Are there referrals that you can possibly be leaning on? Like all of these different things, you start to look at them and you go, okay, well, what's the low-hanging fruit? And you start, obviously I know you've got a CRM already here and you've got all of these contacts in there, and you start to go through that CRM and you go, all right, what's hot and what's cold? And, I know I had a conversation with your staff last week and I said, okay, let's take the CRM. Let's start to understand who is currently advertising and who is currently not. And they're like, well, how do you do that? And I said, number one way that I would do is we can look this up right now. I said, give me a name. Gave me a name. We went to Facebook. I clicked Facebook, their name, the page transparency, are they advertising? And I could pull up their ads right there. And I'm like, this client is advertising right now. This client is not advertising right now. So you have hot and you have cold, right? And it was literally like, okay, let's build a hot list and let's build a cold list. You need to get 25 extra advertisers. Let's look at that hot list. Okay, so we put that on the board, or the Post-it notes out on the wall, and we say, all right, here's your 25 that you're going after. What kind of advertising are they doing? Right? So start to put circles around them and understand where they're at. And then go, okay, what kind of budgets do you believe they're at? Right? So you start to literally learn about each and every one of these individuals, and you understand that those 25 are your next targets, and you should know everything about them going in. So you can go out there and target 200 different customers and have a vague idea of what they're looking for. Or you can actually have 25 that you know for sure are doing things, you have some data on them. You can build a really hot lead, hot media kit, hot sales force that's going after these individuals. And that's what I mean, just literally putting your thoughts on a wall and stepping back, right? And the other thing too is, I think every company is too close to their brand, too close to their selling, right? So, what you think is unique to you, or that you think the marketing needs to be, have you asked others out there? Does this resonate, right? So, for example, I was messing around with some things, and current messaging was A, changed it to B, and then I floated it out there to the first person that I could think of, right? In the space, said, thoughts on this? And they're like, sign me up. I go, why? Well, because of that. Okay, well, what if I said A and it doesn't resonate? Don't care. Okay. Right? Those are things that you...
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, I'm trying not to give too many examples because I don't want to give away, all the back end stuff of what's going on. But the idea is literally put your thoughts, stop, put your thoughts on a wall, or put your thoughts in some kind of system that you can look at every single day. Take a pause and schedule time to work on this, right? Because what happens? If I open up my email right now, I guarantee you there's 50 emails in there from this morning that people want answers on. Are they a fire? No. Is there a few fires in there? I'm sure there are, right? But everything can't be a fire. So from your perspective, when you get an email in regard to the radio, the podcast network, the sports network, whatever it may be, you get an email screaming at you about something. You may take that because you run the show, right? But from a marketing perspective, somebody needs to step back and go, all right, let's get everybody on the same line, same projection of where they're heading, right? So if you're out there promoting something, and Peter's out there promoting something, and Sam's out there promoting something else, and they're all different, nobody knows what the message is.
So we'll get into that specifically for this business, I think, in the next podcast. But one of the things that I guess in general, about society and social media, but also about marketing and even working, is pace. Mm-hmm. And I have said as a morning host for a long time that I thought that the pace of life was what was causing a lot of problems. And, people listen to my show and then they're like, dude, you move so slow and you let people talk. And I go, hey, listen, I'm not doing anything that they didn't do in 1980 or 1930 here, but that's a pace. Mm-hmm. So what you're asking people to do is something that is fairly foreign in the American work life, or actually the global work life right now, because it is almost as if you have so much stuff coming at you and that you have to continue to churn. There has to be a way from a marketing perspective that you're able to disengage from that and do this and look at your Post-it notes on a easel. What could you tell the small and medium-sized business person or marketing person in those firms how to do that?
I think the biggest thing that people need to realize is that if you're just churning, you're just rinse and repeating kind of your every single day, nothing is ever going to change, right? You may continue to grow, you're on a projection, whatever, but nothing is ever going to drastically change, right? So, I came to you late last year and I said, hey, let's start a podcast. Okay, we're now in episode 85. How has that changed things for you and I over the last year? It's changed a lot of different things that, like we've gotten to know each other better and all this other stuff, right? But most small and medium businesses they just react constantly. And I see this too, where my students are going out into the workforce and the number one request that they're getting is we want strategic thinkers. Now, if I give you 15 minutes, and I just came back from my fellowship, and I love the fellowship that we're in, and they're great, but one of the flaws that we have with it is they try to do things by number. Like, we're going to give you 15 minutes to write this, and we're going to give you 30 minutes to do this, and I can't do it that way. I need time to sit. I need quiet space. I need to absorb everything. I need to look at it and go, okay, I'm going to go draft 1, I'm going to change this. I'm going to go draft 2, 3, whatever it may be. And maybe 3 hours down the line, I'll have what you're asking for that you wanted in 15 minutes. And it will be good. Or I can just give you a 15-minute version that's going to be garbage and we're going to move on. And really no one's ever going to look back at it because it's garbage. So have you ever just done a deep dive into a problem to solve it? Because everything in small and medium-sized businesses, we have tons of problems, and many of them go on forever because we never sit down to like literally solve them.
So when you're looking at the premise for this podcast, mastering local marketing tells it right there. And we've talked, I've had so many people tell us about like geofencing, that they really like that one. Or we did a podcast where we showed all the different percentages of what actually works, and it's so crazy that after all these years, it's still email that kind of is the highest percentage. I mean, all of those are specific things, and you can kind of get lost in them. What I'm looking for, I think personally, as a business person who is involved in putting out the fires basically for the last 5 years directly straight, and right now kind of stepping back and looking at, all right, well, where are we and where we're going? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And every person, I think we have like 100 businesses that advertise through us in one way or another. Every one of them that I know that is run or executive director or CEO or whatever it is, they're all the same way. It seems like everybody's always putting out fires. You never see one of these people in charge kind of like you, my legs are crossed, I'm taking a moment, I'm going to figure this out. It just doesn't happen. And
why, though? Because you put more priority in those fires than you do actually taking your business beyond. You get any kind of email, you get any kind of phone call, you could push that down to somebody else and say, here, go handle that, right? So I manage a couple different things at the university, and my number one thing when I go in and I start talking to the people that work for these different departments is literally, how can I help you? Like, what are the struggles that you're having? What can I take off your plate? I'm not telling them what they need to go do. I'm literally saying, what are you struggling with? And do I have a tool? Do I have an idea? Do I have a history in that? Or is this something that I can take on myself to solve for you, right? So what we're saying from a marketing perspective here is the fact that people aren't willing to stop and take a day, minimum a day over a month, right? And
nobody. I have never done that. And I could tell you that out of the 100 people that come through here that run some sort of organization, I can't, if I brought that up with someone, they'd be like, well, I really need to do that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. They come in here, we'll probably have 3 or 4 tomorrow. And then since I'm not doing the morning show, I can talk to people that come in and go out. And a lot of times they're business leaders, bankers, whatever it might be, politicians, whatever. If I brought this up, I'm just curious, out of 10 people, how many are going to say, well, I regularly take a break to look at things from a larger perspective.
Right. Well, that's why I brought it up today.
Okay, so
here, let me just say, I have done this with multiple, businesses. I've done this with agencies. I've done this with businesses. I've even done this at Purdue, where we've gone away for 2 days and just sat in a room and worked together, right? This works. And what I'm saying is you don't need to go take a day, right? If it's 30 minutes, you have your coffee in the morning. You can't literally use a wall in your house to like plan out some things for 30 minutes every morning, some quiet time where you're just having coffee and thinking things through. You come back to it the next day, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes.
Next day, and next day, and next day.
Yep.
So what you're talking about is creating a marketing habit that is actually anti-productivity almost. It's like you're talking about creating a habit.
So how you say anti-productivity, but you're being productive in the fact that you're piecing together the productivity into a day over a time. How many times today are you going to sit and have a conversation for 30 minutes with somebody that It's just a conversation. It's a catch-up conversation. Maybe you mention one or two things. I'm sure you do this all the time. Could you have taken that 30 minutes and put it into how I'm going to, better my company, my marketing, all of those different things, or solve those problems that have been sitting there for countless years that we just haven't gotten to? And that's what I'm saying is, like, some people just, they won't do it. I don't have time. Okay, then you don't value the marketing that you're doing.
What is your view on? I know the answer to this. It's like when my wife's the lawyer. Every time she asks me a question, I go, "You already know the answer."
The rhetorical questions.
Yeah, but I know you talk about 21 days to make a habit. Explain.
Yep. Yeah, so we joke that New Year's is coming up, right? So we're in October right now, so we're getting towards the holidays, and then we hit New Year's, and everybody's always, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to do all that, and really, you can pretty much do anything, right? So today, again, kind of dealing with some health issues. Jim's like, I'll just do one podcast. You don't have to come in. I show up this morning, I'm like, let's do two, right? And he's just like, you don't have to do this. It's a habit at this point, right? So we've done this for 43 weeks at this point, and I don't even think twice about it anymore. So on Wednesday night, I sit down, I'm like, all right, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? I ship it over to you. You get the ideas, what we're going to talk about. I come in on Thursday, we record. It's a habit. I don't even think about it. It's like brushing my teeth in the morning at this point, right? But if I were to say to somebody, go start a podcast and do 2 episodes a week, and by the 3rd or 4th week, that's why everybody falls off. They haven't formed the habit. So if you're not willing to sit down and think about your marketing, you're never going to generate a habit to think about it, and it's just going to sit there, and you're going to continue to struggle. So we put effort into things that we find valuable, but it takes time to see what's going to happen, right? So when we were 3 weeks into the podcast, we had, a handful of people that were listening to us at that point. And if I could have said, oh, it's not working,
You kind of did at one point. You're like, oh my gosh, we're not,
Yeah, but
we
studied
learned out. Yeah.
Yeah. But, the trend has been going up, right? So it's not about that anymore. Now it's about having conversations with you and myself, and I've become a better marketer by sharing all of this stuff. I mean, we were talking about we're a little late getting out the last 2 episodes, and that's a little on me as well. But
wait a second, the producer's back there. She's got 2 jobs. She coaches
exactly.
cheerleading.
I get it.
And she is hiding right now behind the screen doing her homework because she's got several classes.
But
so
I'm not blaming
I have 4 jobs. I don't know what you mean 2. I have 4.
I've never met a 21-year-old person that works this hard, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
Need to, you know what? We need to talk about your habits.
My habits, it's procrastination until the very last minute.
All right, I like it.
The worst part is she's taking my class, so now we'll see how the habits are.
So
I'll be fine. I'll be fine there.
We will get the last couple episodes up, and it'll probably drop like 4 at a time here.
We're gonna drop 2 today, and then every other day continue on with that.
So to sum this up, we've gotten off of specific tactics for this episode. All that stuff that you've built up in 85 episodes, you might want to think about this, you might want to think about that, you might want to think about this. You're saying, all right, we did a lot. Let's just stop for a second, and let's look at it. Let's look at where your marketing is. What is it? Where are your problems? And can you take a breath? And that has to be part of the marketing process. Am I reading that correct?
Yes. So people will come to you, and like you said earlier, they'll talk to you about, oh, I love the geofence episode. But is that is that something that can help you is the question. The conversion rate metrics that we shared, that paid social, paid search, and email are the best for conversion rates. Are you selling something online that you're trying to convert? Is that relevant to you, right? So last night I was sitting in a meeting, and it's an incubator-ish kind of thing with some new startups. And
in Valpo?
No, it's with us
over
over in the sales lab there. But The idea, there are some people in there that are building a social media company, right? So they'll do your social media and all this stuff, and they do a really good job. One of the instructors does all the social channels for the local high school that she's at. Great. They see extreme value in that they're elevating their brand and they're highlighting and showcasing all of this stuff. From my perspective, I don't do a lot of own social type things because mine is all about conversions and building an audience and getting real results right away. So again, I've stepped back and said, I'm not going to put all of this time and effort into this own social side of things. I'm not saying there's no benefit in it. I'm just saying that the people that I'm working with want instant results. And if I'm doing something like own social or SEO, they're not going to see it right away. So everybody has their own unique place in the world, and you have your own unique needs, so you have to understand what works best for you. So when you stand back and you go, all right, I don't want to be like everybody else. What are my goals, and what's the shortest path to get there? When you look at that every single day on a wall or something else, like it starts to be part of who you are, and you're always thinking about it. So we've been on this podcast for 85 episodes. I will hear things, and I'm like, that would make a great discussion on the podcast. So it's constantly in my mind, like, we need to talk more about this. We need to talk more about this, right? And there's certain topics that I want to talk about in the future that I have to go out and do some more research on because I don't do, right? Like, I think Pinterest is amazing to me, but Pinterest is like 80+% women, and I'm not on Pinterest, and I don't necessarily have any clients doing Pinterest, but I want to dive into it. I want to really understand it from somebody that is utilizing it. So if if we've got a listener out there that's really doing a great job, would love to talk to them. Just, it's just not my thing. But because we do this, because we've created a habit every single week, it's always on my fake wall in front of me, and I'm always putting Post-it notes like, I want to talk about this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So, again, we haven't been doing this for a year, but I want to continue to do it. I think it's interesting. I think it's valuable. I think we're bringing real substance to you, but you're also helping me, and I think it's opened up a bunch of different doors and ideas and things I never would have thought about a year ago.
All right, so to follow the process of this podcast, to apply it to the small and medium-sized business, you thought about it a long time, because I brought it up to you a year before we started. And then we would see each other and we'd kind of talk about it, and we had different business, and you did your show here and all that. We'd see each other and, hey man, whenever you're ready, and you thought about it, and I forgot about it for 6 months. I go, I'm not bugging him anymore. And then all of a sudden you show up at the door, let's go. So you've thought about this.
Yeah.
And then you've taken it from ruminating and kind of figuring out where it needs to go, or where you want to start, at least. You don't have to have a fully formed idea of every structural part of it, but you got an idea. Well, I kind of want to get to 100 podcasts and see where it happens, right? And then you established a habit. Like today, I tried to get you to stay home because of this, minor health thing. And you're like, no, we're doing it because it's a habit.
Yeah.
So there's your lesson for today.
Yeah. Honestly, when you do something over and over and over again, even if you just spend 30 minutes a week looking at where, needs and wants, where we want to be, what our marketing is looking like, put it up on a board somewhere, and you spend 30 minutes a week, it's a habit that you look at. Just put it in your phone. It's a reminder. For the next 30 minutes, I have to do this. I have to drop everything. And after a while, you'll start to enjoy it, and it won't be, again, I still haven't gotten the habit of hitting the gym every day, but, or, eating everything that's good for me. But, there are certain things, like I used to eat a lot of candy and cookies and things like that, and I made it a habit that every time it comes out now, I say no, and now it's not hard to do. I know it sounds horrible, but create habits and create your marketing habit, because even if it's just 30 minutes a week, at least you're thinking about it.
Create your marketing habit. That might be another way of looking at this one. Hey, a little bit of housekeeping. Please go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can listen to 85 podcasts there, and usually they're more specific things. This is kind of a more general episode. Also, I write a Substack, Jed in the Midwest. Just go there and like it, please, and you'll get an email every time I write one. And also, you can go to YouTube on WJOB 1230, and you can watch it and see what we look like. We kind of wear the same thing all the time, and are former college baseball players, and that's just what we look like. So there's no real surprise here, except I'm quite a bit older. Thank you, Matt, for this podcast. Thanks a lot to Adriana Alvarez. Until next time, we'll see you later.
If you're thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or your business has plans to break ground on a new project in 2024, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's best electricians. With IBEW, Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers, we're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
At Strachan Van Til, we believe grocery shopping should be simple. Now, shopping is easier than ever with our new and improved website. Find what you need fast. Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep. Skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at strachanvantil.com or download our app today.
You ever see that Billy Jack episode where he goes, I'm going to take my right boot and I'm going to put it on your left ear and there ain't a damn thing you could do about it?
I've heard the quote. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's for a Billy Jack movie.
Yeah.
And I always like that because I am not that good at deception. I'm just like, even like as an athlete, as a running back or whatever, it's like I don't even mind telling you the play because we have to beat you at it anyway.
Yeah.
So if you know it, I don't care. I don't think there's any surprise. We're going to run 22 dive. The quarterback's going to hand it to me, and then that Hobart linebacker, you're going to know where I'm going. Is the other guy going to block you? Am I going to get by? Same thing in at the Board of Trade. It's like when I was standing in those pits all those years. It's like, I am not going to do anything that is of deception. I'm going to buy these 10-year notes or these 5-year notes, and then I'm going to hedge them over there. And I don't care that that I bought them. And I don't care if somebody sells me 100 and all of a sudden I lost a bunch of money and I'm tens of thousands of dollars down. I don't even mind that that. I don't believe in that that's my way. There are plenty of guys that are like, ooh, little sneaky guys,
Yeah.
and I don't have that. So in this episode, it's going to be a little bit risky because we're going to do something different, and we're going to deviate just slightly in that we're going to make a slight announcement here. I guess it is an announcement. And then we're going to analyze why this announcement is important and what it can mean to your small and medium-sized business. So as intro here, I run a radio station that's 102 years old. And 5 years ago, we had a bunch of COVID money. We didn't know what to do, so we built a sports network at an incredibly low price because it was at the beginning of COVID. And we built it. And you could go right now and download the Jed TV app on your phone or on your smart TV in your living room. And you can watch any number of 1,000 games that we stream there. 350 of them are fully produced. About 650 are done with a stationary camera. And it has taken us about 5 years to build that and get some market share. And I think we have 24 schools that we stream all their games through. And it has taken over. I was just a radio guy, and this happened. We stumbled on it. We spent 5 years building it, and then one day this summer we said, well, hey, it's about time that we monetize this and we start marketing it. And it has been slow. But recently, this podcast has had the impact of getting the main star of this podcast involved in my sports network. But it's no longer really mine. I'm not even really running it. And that is Matt Hansen. He is a digital marketing professor here at P&W. So, Matt, thanks for coming in.
Always here, every Thursday.
So, I guess this is episode 86. And we are going to do something that we're going to try that I think you're a big fan of. You're a big fan of Marcus Lemonis.
Oh, I love Marcus. Marcus is always, if I see Marcus on TV, I stop. I'm going to be honest. It's kind of one of those things like I've got to watch it. So, yes.
You've met him at conferences?
I have seen him at conferences. I did not, unfortunately,
you didn't
get to
meet him.
but
Right.
he was 10 feet from me. But, yes.
If you guys don't know him, he's I think a Lebanese-American businessman is how they'll describe him. And he runs the shows where he goes in and he tries to fix small businesses, right?
So he owns Camping World. He's
Yes.
involved with Bed Bath & Beyond at this point. And, he reminds me of somebody that I used to know that would kind of oversee businesses. So he's got kind of that same mindset, and it's really interesting to watch.
So, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, how does he affect you?
I saw him a couple weeks ago at Rally on stage. He's a no BS kind of person, which I love. If I had to put the two, if I had a chance to work with both of them, I would still stay with Marcus, though.
So, I like watching them both, too. And I like the sternness that they come at businesses. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Okay? So, they do it on a business as a whole, okay?
Correct.
So we have a business here, and it has grown substantially in 5 years from when the day we thought of it, or I thought of it, and people said, you're crazy. You're never going to start a network. But we did, and here we are. Recently, you came on as our marketing consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
So again, we start having those conversations about, hey, we could probably use some help and all this other stuff. And it kind of stems back to a conversation I had last night with one of the people at the incubator program that I was watching. When I sit down and I start talking with somebody, and you've said this about the podcast, how it took me forever to kind of say yes on it. I take everything in. Like, I want to understand everything and see where things are going. So I look for opportunity. And talking with you, I get one side. Talking with Sam, I get another side. Talking with Peter, I get another side, right? So there's all of these different sides that are out there. And when you start to peel back the onion, you look at the different layers and you're like, okay, there's something solid under here. I see this, I see this, I see this, right? So as we peeled all of this back, I started getting more interested in what you guys are doing because I saw real opportunity, right? So real growth. And, the last episode we talked about taking a marketing pause, and that's really kind of what you guys are going through right now. As you said, okay, well, let's launch the network. Let's go, 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 go. And then now you're monetize everything. And now that was kind of all over the place. And now what we're trying to do is get that back into a single file line. And this is how things are going to work. So great staff, great ideas, great numbers, right? Like I'm pulling things out of it and understanding it. But from a consultant point of view, I can see there's definitely something here as long as it gets all in line and everyone is all in the same team working together. I think, it'll be amazing to watch.
Marcus Lemonis and Kevin Leary. Kevin O'Leary. Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. They look at businesses as a whole. So what Matt's doing here is a little bit different in that it's mostly on the marketing and monetization side. He's not necessarily looking at, how do we make it cheaper to go out and stream a game? How do we, the technology part of it, or even really the overall, allocation of resources and that kind of stuff. Really just kind of looking at, let's figure out how to monetize this. So I would like to maybe once every 10 episodes or so just check in and say, well, what are you doing and what are you thinking about, put your Marcus Lemonis hat on and say, and I have a pretty thick skin because some of it's going to be criticism at me and maybe even some of the staff, but we're okay with that. So let's start with this. First of all, this is a little bit different from many of the small and medium-sized businesses that would listen that are, businesses that are in from day one trying to make money.
Sure.
We were not trying to make money from day one. We were trying to spend money and then attract money and build audience, build an MVP, a product that is viable in the marketplace. And we were able to do that over fits and starts, and it took a long time, and a couple of times we thought maybe we would quit, but no, we stuck with it, and now we do have this thing that is there, but it wasn't made from the beginning as an organizational management. It is a VC company, and anybody that's in the VC world understands that. You build, and then you just chew through money, and then all of a sudden, one day you have a month where you don't lose money, and then you have 3 months where you don't lose money, and then you might have a year where you don't lose money, but you're like, you didn't make anything. That's not the idea. But so we're at this part where I think we made $2,000 last year, and that was like we had a party and everything because that was the first time that we didn't lose. We'll probably do the same thing this year. So when you come into a VC and you're looking at the marketing specifically of a VC like this, what are you looking for?
When we first started having conversations, I was looking for opportunity, future growth, future opportunities.
Right market,
right? So you're in one kind of known market right now, right? You've lived here a long time. Your staff has probably lived here most of their lives, if not all of their life, and they know the market. So the question becomes, and I know we've kind of talked about this, is what's the future look like? Is this market your end goal? Again, going back to kind of like plotting out where you want to be and what you want to do. Is it growth beyond this market? Is it multiple markets? Do you want to have 100 different markets at some point? How does that look? How does that work? How does that feel? Is it something you want to do? Is it something that your staff wants to do? And getting everybody on the same path and saying, what's the goal? And the goal really right now from, and I'm hoping I'm not giving too much away, but the goal is to solidify the current home market, to really understand it, to build it up, to get the messaging right, to get every single piece of the marketing machine to be fully functioning and running how it should. In 1 week, we've dissected a million different things already. We've looked at it. I've taken some of that information and shopped it out there to some people, and they're already like, yeah, I'm in. Just when you're done with this piece that you're working on, send it to me and we'll cut you a check for, the first 2 months.
So understand this. All right. So, and this is new to me. Basically the staff here, I've kind of helped build this whole thing. And then I realize that I'm a good founder and a good visionary, but I am not a good manager, and I'm not good at doing what Matt's talking about in terms of building a new system. But you're coming in and you're doing what you do the best. Mm-hmm. You're building a system. Mm-hmm. So that would be the first thing that I'm just looking at. And right. I'm looking at it from the outside, to be honest with you, because it took me 6 months to realize that I had to get to this point and let somebody else do this. Okay? We'll leave that off as a different thing. So you're building a system. Now, how does that apply to the small and medium-sized person? It may be a VC, or they may be not a VC. Right. And they're going to do what we've done here, and gosh, we got a good business here, but we're just kind of just churning in clients, and they're friends of mine and all this. But God, all of a sudden we got a decent business. How do we switch over to where we have a strategic plan with a marketing system?
Right. So you have certain goals that you want to put out there. Your goal is to establish a foundation here, and then we've got some other ideas that we've been talking about, like.
And I'm okay you being open about things, yeah.
I mean, so think of it in terms of this. From a small business perspective, you open up a shop, whatever that shop is, whether it's a restaurant, a home decor place, a plumbing business, whatever it may be, in your town. Once you get that established, once you get that profitable, once you get that, all of your marketing, your customers, everything is flowing, and you're churning a profit over and over and over again. Then you ask your question, well, what if I went over to the next town over and opened up a second shop? Can I rinse and repeat this, right? So, or is it based just on me, right? So like, obviously you started this and you're pulling yourself out of it. And these are conversations I have with founders all the time is, if I pull you out of this business, does the business fail? And, one of my buddies that I talk to literally on a weekly basis, he was stuck in his business and he could not pull himself out of it. Today, he's not stuck in his business. He's got everybody working for him, doing all these different things, and he's got a variety of different services that do different things for him as well. If he wants to go golfing today, he can go golfing today. If he wants to not work at all this week, he can not work at all. And he's still going to have the same revenues that he would normally have if he was in the business doing it. So really, it's just we have to understand what are our goals, where do we want to go, what is it that we want to do. So if you own that restaurant, that home decor, that plumbing business in your town, what are your goals? Is that enough? Is that what you want, just that one? Or do you want to expand? Do you want to have one here in this town and then another in the other town and then maybe more and more and more? Or do you want to franchise the model? How do you want to do it? But the idea is really, what do you see yourself, or where do you see this company in the future? and work backward. It's always envision the future and then work backward. And I think that's what you and your staff are doing right now. Here is build this area, solidify it, and then rinse and repeat.
So let's go straight to the marketing part. You come in, it's all over the place. I think we sent you probably half a dozen different marketing.
73 emails in 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you
I'm
for
just
all
kidding.
that information. But the business person that is listening, or the marketing person in a medium-sized business, is putting out fires all the time. You talk about that a lot in these podcasts. So a lot of times the messaging is not clear. They have not hired you. There's a massive company around here that we're trying to get, and I just feel like their messaging has gone back and forth because they don't understand this market. But that's another story. But until I did this podcast, I did not believe that the messaging was that important. So now you're coming in here, and let's be honest about, how bad the messaging is here, and how do you fix it?
I wouldn't say it's bad. I think I think a lot of the marketing that you guys are doing right now is focused on the intricate details of how the network is built, instead of looking at what you've built. And I know that sounds weird, but for example, when we started pulling the number of watch hours for the network, I was floored at how many watch hours are going through that annually, and how it's not just for basketball. It's not just for, boys basketball, for boys football. It's, women's basketball. It's women's volleyball. I mean, there are significant hours and hours of watch time for this on a local level, right? Or the fact that you had 15 million people over the last year on Facebook interacting with your content. I can show you the graphs, how from January until now, it's drastically gone up, right? Significant engagement. And when you share that with somebody, it's the first thing is, oh, you're just another advertising opportunity in my backyard. And then you say, well, we are, but here's the results of what we're doing. And it makes people go, whoa, this is like a legitimate thing that people are investing in. I need to take a closer look at this, right? So if somebody comes to you, a local newspaper, a local billboard, a local radio, local, Valpak or something to put a coupon in,
the little things above the urinals, all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, there's advertising opportunities everywhere. Can I show growth on that? Can I come to you and say, oh, well, our billboard views are up 200% year over year? No, you're probably not going to see something like that, right? It's here's an opportunity, here's how much traffic goes by it, blah, 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 blah. When you look at what you guys are doing, you're not highlighting the fact that your watch hours are through the roof, that your social is growing drastically, and just those 2 pages in your pitch deck alone can probably sell the next advertising package.
All right, so we've talked about what he's going to do as he comes in here, okay? He's looking at the strategic marketing plan, strategic plan of the whole business too, actually, but mostly you got to have a kind of like a step back. If you listen to the last podcast, got to step back, look at all of it, and that's what he does. He's been just kind of ruminating this in the shower forever. And then one of the very first things is to look at what is actually being sold and extract the positive messages out of that.
Right. Yes. And I mean, even to the advertising packages, I've seen you have 3 packages, and I've seen another deck that has 4 packages, right? And then I ask, well, what do you get in these packages? And they're listed. And I go, well, what is that, right? So you understand what that is, but an outside entity, somebody that's working for the advertiser that you're going after, doesn't understand what a thank you message on social media is.
A
Not a clue.
graphic during a game, and sometimes a scoreboard graphic, a rotating graphic, and or the naming rights to a kickoff or something.
Right. I mean, they have no idea what these packages. They just see 3 packages and they see a number and they're like, okay, well, I guess I'll take this one. I mean, and it's, going back to the people that are listening, you have certain things that you utilize, that you say in your businesses every single day. Acronyms are huge in business, and maybe someone won't know what that acronym means. One of the guys last night in the meeting that I was in, he was saying he works for Amazon, and one of the people above him was talking to him, and he had no idea what the jargon was that they were utilizing in the conversation. And it's one of those things where it was one instance for him, but he said, I need to learn that because I don't understand it. And so how many times are we having conversations with our customers or our potential customers and they don't understand what we're talking about? And it's just because we're so close to it, nobody has ever stopped them to go, whoa, I don't understand what, OTO means. What is that, right? Those are just things that happen, and we don't give it second thought, because in your office, in your shop, in your whatever it is, your local business, it's common discussion, but it's getting lost outside the walls.
All right, so to apply to your business, a strategic marketing plan, messaging, and simplification.
Yeah, I mean, that's, Marcus puts it a little different, right? He's always talking about product, right? People and processes, right? So we're talking about kind of the processes of what we're talking here. You look at what each of the people that are working with you bring to the table, and, is your product good? So again, talking about your watch hours and your social media content, product's great, right? We looked at all the people and we started looking at how do they build into this? And then we looked at the processes, and the processes are a little fragmented at this point. We're just getting them all to where it's just like rinse and repeat.
So let's use Marcus's method. I know it's people and processes. What's the first one? Product.
Yep.
So product we talked about. It's a high school sports. We stream it, and it's kind of not really been done on this level around here. So people in marketing, usually it's a marketing person at a medium-sized bank or something like that, and they're like, wow, I didn't know this existed. So the product has rise, not just here, but nationally. It's grown at over 20% a year. So you have the product, and then you have the people. We talked about a staff. We have the advantage of being on the campus. We actually rent from the campus, so we're able to kind of pluck really good talent, like our producer right now, Adriana Alvarez, as long as she has to stay in school so we could keep her. How does that sound? Because she's overly trained right now. And then the processes is where the weakness is here. The product is reasonably strong. The people are reasonably strong. You have to go at that part for the marketing. Am I reading that right?
Yes. But let me go back. What is your product again?
We're streaming games, and the product is connection with the communities around those games.
Yep. Okay. Just making sure, right? So
Is that how you understand it?
Yeah, I mean,
that's only 2 days ago when they told me that was our product because they heard it from you. I just spit it out.
No, I mean, if you come to somebody and you say, my product is I stream high school sports games. Okay, good for you, right? I give you opportunity to be part of our high school sporting events that are throughout our area. And by the way, our company actually gives back monetarily to our partner schools. So you're actually supporting our community by partnering with us on this advertising. That's a whole different conversation than I stream games, right? So that's what I mean by understanding what you're really selling. You're selling an opportunity to be part of it, to be interactive with it in some capacity with the different packages. Plus, you're also supporting those high schools and giving back them monetarily based on ad packages and things like that.
So the process, this is only not even a full week really that we've been working on this. It took a long time for two things to happen. For Matt to kind of just say, hey, let's kick this through and let's go with it. And it also took the founder, which is me. It takes a long time often for a founder to just basically say, hey, you know what? I get the message. Man, I went to all these VC things down in Indy, and we went to that founder startup guy, and they had a series of workshops, and all of it is everybody in here is a founder, and then there's a few managers. Mm-hmm. None of you guys should be in the same room. And that was, I didn't quite get it. Like, you have this skill, you have this skill, you have this skill, and you're going to get it to a point, let somebody else manage it. And that is very difficult. I finally come to that. So I'm open to all of this. We couldn't have done this podcast 4 months ago. So ultimately, you have the product, the people, and you're working on the processes. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the next step?
So the next step, every single one of your staff has marching orders and what they're working on. So obviously the sales side, they're getting all the CRM together.
How important is the CRM?
It's very important, right?
So once again, we're using an acronym that you're going to explain what it is first.
Yeah, so CRM is basically just a database of information on your...
Is it content resource management?
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's been so long. It's all CRM.
Yeah, so the idea is this. Maybe you're using Salesforce or something like that, right? Or HubSpot or any of them that are out there. There's a bunch of different ones. You have that. But then maybe you've got a salesperson over here that's got a Google sheet that they've developed and they're working off of that. Or maybe you have an intern over here that's got an Excel file that's got a bunch of stuff. And next thing you know, your data is literally all over the place. And when you ask somebody, like, where are we? Where's the list? Where's the hot leads, the cold leads, all of this stuff? It's everywhere. And that really is something that you need to solidify and get that all into one centralized umbrella. So whenever somebody needs to, let's say you're going to go call John over at plumbing something, right? I can go into the CRM and I can say, oh, well, we contacted John 3 days ago and, Jamie over here reached out and this is what he said. Okay, great. Now we know. I would have made a second phone call. It would have sounded like we didn't know what we were doing, right? All of those different things. So, depending on size, if you're a one-person shop or if you have 10, 15, 20 different people working for you, I mean, it's different. But, you got to get organized there.
CRM. So I know that's another thing that we're introducing to the small and medium-sized businesses. Like, oh, my God, I need a CRM. I don't know. How many people you got? We got 100 different people that do business with us. And we don't have a management system. Most of it was my friends and people I know from the radio that have migrated over, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that most of the people that come in here don't have a CRM, and their stuff's a mess. Yeah, where do they start?
Use a Google Sheet or an Excel file. I mean, put your customers somewhere. Even when we had the home decor shop, I mean, we had, I think it was like 4,000 people on our mailing list, but it was in an Excel file. So if I needed to go pull anything out of there, I could pull something out of there. If you want to start tying that back to orders, I mean, maybe take a name every time you get an order and you can tie it back in some kind of database. But, realize if you are selling something out there in the general public, it is good to keep a database because those are customers or those are potential customers that you've had conversation with. If they're cold and you're just building a database of cold leads, I mean, that's tough, right? So that's what, again, we've talked with the staff here and we said, who are our hot leads, who are our cold leads, right? So who is currently running advertising, who is not currently running advertising? Because if somebody in late October is not running advertising, like, people that are going to spend money on advertising are running ads right now, right? You're getting into the holiday season. There's a variety of things that are going on. Budgets have to be exhausted. Many times people have money left over. I mean, I hear this all the time. Hey, we've got an extra $5,000. What kind of ideas can you throw at us that we can do, right? if they're not spending right now, that's a cold lead. Again, coming back around on the flip side, January, February is always tough because, everybody, if you're a small business, you've spent most of your money, if not all of your money, just to get through the holiday season. And, everybody's kind of paying off the credit cards and all of that after the first of the year. And then anyone with significant budgets for marketing dollars, they're waiting on approval processes, right? So they're going through budgets and looking at them. So typically those take anywhere from mid-February all the way to April to get approved. So, you get kind of this dull downtime. And, that's where I think your staff is going to realize, like, got to hit now. You're getting into basketball season. I know football playoffs are starting. Basketball is huge. We live in Indiana, let's face it. So, it's time to get out there and sell, and that's what we're trying to move as fast as we can with these guys and really kind of get that messaging together. But no, I mean, you got a solid product, you got solid people here, you just got to clean some of the processes up.
So to go back, there it is. It's kind of a different podcast. This is Mastering Local Marketing, episode 86. Thanks a lot to Adriana Alvarez. She's a student here at Purdue. She actually runs the podcast network here. And if you want your own podcast, you just email Adriana with 2 N's at wjob1230.com, and she'll send you some stuff and say, hey, there's dozens of people that do podcasts here. But this was a different episode. A lot of it I don't know because I've tried to disengage with it, but you have Matt coming in here and applying what he has and doing it in a growth industry, and we'll see how it works out. It's brand new, so this is the first installment of that. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we'll see where this goes as we go forward. I think it's a collective effort. Everybody's on board. Everybody's kind of bought in. So we'll just see how fast we can move. But, again, it's just understanding why we're doing what we're doing. So it's a lot of education at first, but it's going to be pretty solid once we get it done.
So we'll try to follow the process and see if there's anything that comes up that can apply to your small and medium-sized business so you, too, can be mastering local marketing. Until next time, see you later.